Okay, Angana, as you know that in my previous class I have started a new chapter, that is chemical coordination and integration. Okay, so in this particular chapter we will discuss about the human endocrine system. Okay, so from different endocrine glands of human body, different hormones will be released, and in human body different types of endocrine glands can be found. So first of all, which is mainly regulating the pituitary gland, this was considered as hypothalamus, and in my previous class I have discussed about the hypothalamus. And the next important part is the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland. Okay, the pituitary gland, we have to know the location first. So what is the location of the pituitary gland? As you can remember that pituitary gland having this type of structure. So in the forebrain or basal part of the forebrain or diencephalon, hypothalamus is present, and pituitary gland is connected with the hypothalamus by a stalk. So it is also present in the brain, and the pituitary gland, the alternative name of pituitary gland is hypophysis, and the hormones are connected through the system which is called as hypothalamus hypophyseal system. Okay, so first, what is the location of the pituitary gland? Pituitary gland is located in a bony cavity which is called as sella turcica and is connected with the hypothalamus by a stalk which is called as infundibulum. So the location of the pituitary gland is in a bony cavity called sella turcica. In a bony cavity called sella turcica. Okay, in a bony cavity. So pituitary gland is located in a bony cavity called sella turcica, and it is attached with the hypothalamus with a stalk. So this stalk is called as infundibulum. I will tell you that when you have to submit. Now just write it down. Now just write it down, complete the project and keep it with you. Okay. Okay, very good. Then keep it with you when everyone will finish their project, or when before the examination I will give you a date, then you have to submit it. Okay, you will get to know everything, nothing to worry. So come back to the part, that is I was discussing about the location of the pituitary gland. Okay, so you can see this one from the book also. Just see, in the book there is a diagram which is showing the position of the pituitary gland. This one, just open your book and see the diagram from the book, this diagram. So figure 22.2, here you can find there is a diagrammatic representation of the pituitary and its relationship with the hypothalamus. Pituitary gland is having two lobes, mainly two lobes. These two lobes are considered as anterior lobe or adenohypophysis and posterior lobe or neurohypophysis. So the two lobes of the pituitary gland are, so this one is anterior lobe and this one is the posterior lobe. Okay, so anterior lobe or adenohypophysis, and the another one is posterior lobe or neurohypophysis. Okay, so as it's the common name of the pituitary gland is hypophysis, that is why it is called as adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. These two lobes are again divided into some parts, and a small middle lobe can be found. That is, these two lobes, the anterior lobe mainly can be divided into two. These are called as pars distalis and pars intermedia, and another part is there, that is pars tuberalis. So these two are main parts, that's why we have to know about these two: pars distalis, pars intermedia, and from the posterior, that is pars nervosa. Okay, so these are the different parts of pituitary. These are the different parts of posterior pituitary and anterior pituitary. Two parts are pars distalis and pars intermedia, of the which can be found in the adenohypophysis, and pars nervosa can be found in the neurohypophysis. From these parts, different types of hormones are releasing. We have to know the name of these different hormones and their functions. So first I will talk about the hormones which can be released from the pars distalis part. Okay, so what are these? These are FSH, LH, ACTH, TSH, PRL, GH, and these pars distalis region of the pituitary is commonly called as the anterior pituitary. That means if we say the anterior pituitary, we will first consider the pars distalis part, and this pars distalis part can produce some hormones. What are the name of those hormones? That are the I have written in the short form. First one is FSH. Full form of FSH is follicle stimulating hormone. Next one is LH. Full form of LH is luteinizing hormone. Third one is ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Fourth one is TSH. Full form is thyroid stimulating hormone. Next one is PRL. Full form is prolactin. And the last one is GH, that is growth hormone. All these hormones are having different roles. I will discuss their function later. First tell me the name of the hormones which can be released from these different parts. And the next one is pars intermedia. Pars intermedia can secrete only one hormone, that is melanocyte secreting hormone. Melanocyte stimulating hormone, and its short form is MSH. M for melanocyte, S for stimulating, H for hormone. From the pars intermedia, melanocyte stimulating hormone will be released. And the last one, that is the neurohypophysis, or its part is called as pars nervosa, which is also called as posterior pituitary. It can release only two hormones, and these two hormones are oxytocin and vasopressin. Okay, this oxytocin, I think you can see it properly, so let me write it down on the upper side. Okay, so from pars intermedia it was MSH, and from this one oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin and vasopressin. Now I will explain the functions of all these hormones. Before that, you have to know two terms, that is, if the hormones are not releasing in appropriate amount, then we will get two conditions. First one is, if it is releasing in the higher amount, then it is called as hypersecretion, and if it is releasing in lower amount, then it is called as hyposecretion. Hypersecretion and hyposecretion. Okay, so hypersecretion means when it will be released in quite higher amount, and hyposecretion means when it is releasing in lower amount. Okay, so different types of problems may occur due to this hypo and hypersecretion. First one, I will discuss about the GH, that is growth hormone. Okay, so oversecretion or hypersecretion of the growth hormone stimulates abnormal growth of the body. Growth hormone is actually helping in the overall growth of the body. So if it increases in higher amount or in over secretion of this growth hormone can create a condition which is called as gigantism. Gigantism. Okay, so you know the meaning of that term, that is the person look like quite the height of the person will be long and the person will be in overweight and everything will be in high amount than the normal person, and this condition is called as gigantism. And if the hormone is releasing in quite low amount, then low secretion of the GH can cause a condition which is called as dwarfism. And in this particular case, the height of the person will be quite less. Okay, so these are the two different abnormalities which can be seen due to the hyper and hyposecretion of the growth hormone. Okay, now next one I will discuss about the prolactin. Okay, next hormone, that is prolactin. Prolactin regulates the growth of the mammary gland. Prolactin regulates the growth of the mammary glands and the formation of milk in them. As you know that after the parturition or the baby birth, milk can be released from the mammary gland, and this prolactin hormone will help in the development of the mammary gland and the release of the milk from the mammary gland. It is the main role of the prolactin. Next one is the TSH. Full form is thyroid stimulating hormone. TSH stimulates the synthesis of the thyroid hormones. That means hormones which can be released from the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is another endocrine gland which can be found in our neck region. So the hormones which can be released from the thyroid gland is regulated by the TSH. Next one is the ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Adrenocorticotropic hormone stimulates the synthesis and the secretion of a steroid hormone which is called as glucocorticoids, and glucocorticoids can be secreted from the adrenal cortex. Adrenal gland is another endocrine gland which can be released, which can be situated on the upper portion of the kidney, and the adrenal gland is again divided into two parts, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. So these ACTH will help to secrete and synthesis of the adrenal cortex glucocorticoid hormone. Next one is LH. Full form of LH is luteinizing hormone, and another one is FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. These two are gonadotropic hormone. That means it can stimulate the gonadal activity. Gonad means testis and ovary. That is why these are in generally called as gonadotrophins. LH and FSH, as they are having role in the gonads, so they are considered as gonadotrophins. Okay, so in case of males, LH stimulates the synthesis and secretion of the hormones called androgens from testes. In case of males, LH stimulates and helps in the secretion of the male hormone from the testes, and these are considered as androgens. And also in males, FSH also helps in the and both, not only FSH only, those androgens and FSH will help in the spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis is a process by which sperms can be produced. Okay, it is the process of formation of sperm. So those androgens and FSH are helping in the process of spermatogenesis. Now next one, in case of female, LH stimulates the ovulation from the fully matured follicle, which is considered as Graafian follicle. So in the female ovary, some follicles are developing, and the matured follicle one is considered as Graafian follicle, and on the 14th day from the Graafian follicle the egg will be released, and this process is called as ovulation, and LH is playing role in this ovulation. And after the release of the egg or ovum from the Graafian follicle, the rest part of the Graafian follicle will be converted into corpus luteum, and LH is having role in this, maintaining this part also. Okay, so these are the different roles of LH in case of males and females, and FSH also is having role in case of females. That means FSH stimulates the normal growth and development of the follicles which are developing inside the ovary in case of females. Okay, so these are the different functions of the different hormones that can be released from the anterior pituitary or adenohypophysis. Next one was the parts intermediate part of anterior pituitary, and from this part only one hormone will be released, that is MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone. This melanocyte stimulating hormone, that means it is having melanin secreting containing cells, and it contains the pigmentation of the skin. As you can remember that melanin is the main cause of pigmentation in our skin. So as these are the melanin containing cells, so it will help in the regulation of the pigmentation of the skin. And the last two hormones which are released from the neurohypophysis or posterior pituitary are the oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin is having main role in the contraction of the smooth muscles of the endometrium at the time of parturition or the birth of the baby. Okay, so oxytocin acts on the smooth muscles of our body and stimulates their contraction. And in females it stimulates a vigorous contraction of the uterus at the time of the childbirth. Okay, so due to the contraction the childbirth will occur, and it is also having another role in the ejection of the milk from the mammary gland. Oxytocin playing another role in the ejection of the milk from the mammary gland. So this is the main role of oxytocin. And the last hormone of the pituitary gland, that is vasopressin. Vasopressin acts mainly on the kidney. You have already read the chapter human excretory system. So in the kidney you have seen there are different parts, tubules are there. So you can remember the distal convoluted tubule. Vasopressin will act on the distal convoluted tubule, and it will stimulate the reabsorption of the water, and it will reduce the loss of water through urine. Okay, so if our body gets dehydrated, then that time our body will help, or our body will stimulate this hormone so that the water can be reabsorbed, because to maintain the water balance in our body, to maintain the blood pressure. So if our body gets dehydrated, then ADH, or the alternative name of vasopressin is ADH, and the full form of ADH, antidiuretic hormone. Full form of ADH is antidiuretic hormone. Okay, so vasopressin is having different names, that is ADH or antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. This ADH can stimulate the reabsorption of the water and electrolytes from the distal part of the kidney, and it will reduce the water loss through urine. Okay, and that is why it is called as antidiuretic hormone, and it will help to maintain the body homeostasis. Okay, so these are the different hormones which are released from the different parts of the pituitary gland, and we have seen their location of the pituitary gland and their different function. Okay, so for today I am completing the pituitary gland part. In my next class I will start with the pineal gland part. Okay, so up to this portion, understood everyone? Ma'am, please tell me the syllabus for the exam. Your syllabus for the exam is, that is from unit 1 to unit 3, the chapters which are only in your revised syllabus. So as you know that from these units only some parts are in your syllabus, some parts are removed in your revised syllabus. So those parts which are only in your revised syllabus, question will be asked from those parts only. Unit 1, unit 2 and unit 3, that means up to the cell cycle and cell division. Clear, Vishal? Angana, I was telling him the syllabus once again. You know the syllabus, right, Angana? Okay, that's I was telling him Vishal the syllabus, nothing else. Okay. So anything else do you want to ask me? Yes, Krishnendu, it is from unit 1 to unit 3. That means from the chapter 1 to chapter 10, cell cycle and cell division. And as you know that some parts are from these chapters are not in your revised syllabus. So parts which are in your revised syllabus, questions will be asked from this part. Okay. So including these three units, the chapters which are in your revised syllabus, questions will be asked from this. Clear, Krishnendu? Again I will upload the syllabus in the e-portal. Just check it, you will get to know everything. Okay, so thank you and bye bye everyone.